YouTube for the October 22 TID meeting. Norm, take it away.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, let's all introduce ourselves. I'll start with myself, Norman Crew, Sonoma Valley Inn. Dare?
Dare Sturgis, MacArthur Place Hotel and Spa.
Hunt?
Hunt Bailey, Sonoma Valley Escapes.
Christopher? He's gone for a minute. Jack?
Jack Dean, Mayor of the City of Sonoma.
And Christopher, will let you do yours again.
Sure. Chris Fingerberg, the
Introduce yourself, Chris. And Dan Parks?
Chris Fingerberg.
Dan Parks?
Dan Parks in Sonoma.
Good morning, everybody. We'll start out with public comments. There being none, we'll go to the consent items. There being none, we're going to move the agenda around a little bit because one of our voting members, Hunt, has to leave in about 20 minutes. But before we get there, I wanted to make an announcement. I will be in South Africa the first 17 days of November. And Hunt, you're our vice president. Is it okay with you if you chair the meeting in November?
Absolutely. I won't do it as well as you do, but I will do my best.
You'll do even better. And the other item that concerns you, Hunt, is Tim and Dan and I, we met on the presentation for the city council. And Tim, we'd like to ask you if you would do that on behalf of the board. And that date is, what's the date, Tim?
That is next Wednesday.
Okay. Can you, is that okay with you, Hunt?
Next Wednesday, yeah. It's
Yeah,
the 19th, I think. Yeah.
October 19th, 6 o'clock.
Okay, and Tim and Jack will work with you on that presentation to the council so that it's done as we normally do, so we can get the council informed as to what we're doing with the money and how we're doing marketing. And I think the council will be really pleased because we're doing so much better now than we even anticipated in terms of the TOT tax. With that being said, thank you, Tim, for all your help and Hunt, for all your help and participation. I'd like to skip to the agenda item pertaining to the grants because we'll need you to vote, Hunt. And the first thing I want to announce about that is we have in the recommendations that Tim has made $27,000 worth of grant recommendations and commitments. We have only allocated $25,000 to this portion of our budget. So if the group, the board, decides to give everybody what is recommended by Tim, then we will, on the November agenda, have to put on calendar a vote to increase our budget for community activities here from 25 to 27,000. If, on the other hand, we reduce the amounts recommended by 2,000, we don't have to have the budget item addressed at the November meeting. So with that being said, Tim, why don't you start with the first item? We're going to do them one by one and quite quickly so we can get Hunt to participate.
Perfect. All right. And let me see. I'm going to open them all up here on my computer. So give me 1 second, please. And I can also show you over there. Okay. So we essentially have multiple requests for funding for the community grants. And these are some pretty good ones in here. So let me see if I can share my screen real quickly. And I apologize for that. Get these in order. Okay, can you guys see currently a screen that says Sonoma Tourism Improvement District Grant Program? Yep. Okay. So this one is, well, let's do them in the order they came in. Apologies. So the first one is the Sonoma Valley Museum of Art. And oops, Norm is calling me now. Norm is calling me. Norm, did Norm get bounced in the call, guys? Back here. the chair. So the chair is calling me, so I need to figure this out, guys. I apologize. He stopped calling me. Did Norm? Well, this is one of the charms of doing a meeting like this. I apologize. Does anyone see Norm on the call? No. Let me
don't-
see. Okay. Yeah. Chris, let's see. Well, I will keep talking and then let's hope Norm can join us again. So Hunt, you're currently co-chair. Okay. So what we've got is an exhibition from the Sonoma Valley Museum of Art. I can zoom in there. I've also emailed this to you guys yesterday. Sorry. There you go. This is two different exhibits that they put on the off season. In the past, we funded them to the same tune of $10,000. Their total cost for the whole event, their cost is $20,000.
I think he doesn't
I
know
believe.
how. He knows that you dropped off. And
Okay. Let me see. I'm going to
Okay.
pause this real quickly. I can
Yep.
resend.
Tim, Norm says his computer says meeting host will let you in soon.
Oh, well, I better let him in. My apologies. Let me stop sharing the screen here and see if I can find Norm. Sorry. There he is. He's been waiting there. Is Norm back? Norm, can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey.
Can you
Yeah,
hear
Yes,
we can
there
hear you,
you are.
Norm.
Okay, I'm back on. Thank you. I don't know what happened. I just got dropped there. Go ahead.
Don't worry. Don't go anywhere. So we were just talking about Sonoma Valley Museum of Art. In the past, we funded them for $10,000. Their total budget for this multi-month program, which is 2 art exhibits, is about $20,000. The recommendation for this one is $10,000, which will be a substantial investment in their program. And we know the arts are an important driver of people coming to Sonoma Valley. So that's one.
Let's do them one at a time here.
Okay, very good.
After your explanation, thank you, and I'm sorry I missed part of it. I'd like to open the, I'd like to ask for a vote. Excuse me, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve your recommendation and a second for purposes of discussion.
Can I jump in there? If
Yeah.
we have to vote on going from 25 to 27,000, that seems to be a determining factor in whether we approve these in order. Does that make sense?
Well, no, because we have to go through, if we approve to 27, we only can fund 25 until the next meeting where we vote on it. If we approve 25 or less, we have nothing to vote on next meeting.
I understand. Okay, so should
So we can
hear-
go through these, and if we decide we want to do all these, then we have to have a motion for the next meeting to
Yeah, I
fund the extra 2,000.
I would ask that we go through all of them and then determine if we need to cut 1 or 2 of them by a few thousand, and then that will help
You
us.
want to do them all at once, is what you're saying?
I think so.
Is that, does everybody think that's right?
Am
Yeah.
I correct that these are the requested amounts and there's no recommendation?
Yeah, actually, Dan, I'm going to jump in. So there's the requested amounts, and then I put recommended amounts. So the requested amount from Sonoma Valley Museum of Art was 19,000. Yeah, $19,675. And so my recommendation is 10,000. Primarily because 1, there's a lot more things going on. 2, this is their total cost. So they can find other funders and other people to help out. And 3, this is an art museum exhibit that people will come here for, but there's also other exhibits and other events that will also meet our mission to get people here and become demand drivers. So yes, their request is about 20,000. My recommendation is 10,000.
The bottom line is the 27,000 that is on the table for us to review today are all recommendations from Tim, not requests. They're recommendations. And
Right.
if the group has decided we want to go through them all at once, so why don't you take the time and go through the next item, and then we can talk about
Sure.
them as a group. Go ahead.
Sure.
Where on the stuff you sent us does it say the recommended amount?
Oh, sorry, Dan, it's in the email that I sent last night, and I can put it, let me put it on the screen as well. I apologize. See if I can do this.
Dan, I just
oh,
forwarded it to your VOM account. If you have an email in front of you, I just forwarded it to you.
well, I've also, I think you guys can see my screen right now, right?
Okay,
There's an
I
Excel
have it.
spreadsheet.
There you go.
All right. And on the Excel spreadsheet, which I think you can see, ironically, I can't see what you can see right now. We are right here where it says amount requested, and then suggested is after reading the applications. And then here we'll fill in what we ultimately decide.
So can I have, so let's discuss, and then we'll get a motion, all four of these items that you have
Okay.
made recommendations on, and then as Hunter suggested, we'll put a motion on the floor to either approve all of them or to discuss one or two of them, okay?
Okay, perfect. All right, so the next one is Dia de los Muertos. That's happening in November during our need period. It'll be on the Sonoma Plaza. This is through the group Vida Sonoma, which was spun out of the Lou Center. A woman named Angie Sanchez has a track record of putting on very successful events on the Sonoma Plaza for the community. It is the second year. They are asking for $5,000 because the city, which is rightly so, doesn't waive a lot of fees for renting out the plaza and doing things like that. So they need some help to make sure they get the word out because a lot of their money is going towards funding that. They are asking for $5,000, and the recommendation is to go for $5,000 on that. So that is Dia de los Muertos happening in November of this year. Next one is called Music in Place, Holiday Plaza Performances. Essentially, this group has a track record of bringing bands to the Grinstead Amphitheater in the summer, and they were approached both by myself and the city to consider bringing programming during the off season, so we have a reason that people can come here and see Sonoma during the holidays. So they will contract with local musicians and bring any equipment to put on performances with the city's rules regarding performances. Their group costs about $2,000 per performance. They're looking at doing about 6 performances. So their grant request is $12,000, and my recommendation is $10,000. We could probably find some other sponsors. This is their first year. Hopefully the second year, a winery or some other players will want to hop on that. The final recommendation, this is also from Vida Sonoma, and it's a holiday festival called Fiesta Navideña. This is a typical Mexican holiday. Usually in Mexico, people go around and they kind of have drinks and food, and they visit different stores or businesses or stalls and get little gifts. They will also have a little market, which is called a mercadito. So local craftspeople will be there selling things for the holidays. So sort of like a mixture of the German Christmas market, a Mexican Christmas market, but right here in Sonoma in classic fashion. It's usually been hosted in the springs, but they like to bring it to the plaza. But again, the plaza does incur some costs. Their request is $4,000. My recommendation is $2,000. That way we can help get the program going and see this happen. So all of those together should tally up to the $27,000. I'll turn it back to the TID for discussion.
Can I have a recommendation? Can I have a motion that we approve the 27,000 as recommended by Tim, and a second for purposes of discussion only? Can I have such a motion?
I'll move to do 27,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a first and a second. Therefore, the question is on the table. Are there any items that any board member would like to discuss or have questions on or consider either reducing or increasing? And I leave it open to the board now. Start with you, Dare.
No, I would approve the 27,000 and I agree with the suggestions.
Okay, Hunt,
I agree with the suggestion.
Daniel, Dan?
My only question is understanding better where the money is going. And I'm hoping that a lot of it's going towards publicity for the events. But I don't have any problem with this, and I think I agree.
Jack?
I agree totally.
Okay, and Chris?
I support all 4 events.
Okay, we didn't say hello to you, Sue, before this. Welcome to our board meeting.
Thank you.
I think all the board members have commented favorably to approving the motion. I'd like to call the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? There being none, we will have a $27,000 approval on our donations to the community, which would mean at the next board meeting, Tim, in November, I would like you to put on the agenda that we put a motion on the table to increase the budget from $25,000 to $27,000. I would also like to add,
Norm, can I suggest that we do a motion to increase the budget for grants, but we take into account things that might come in between now and then that we haven't seen yet that we would like to cover also.
I would think
So
the
we
motion
leave
would
the-
be
we
broad
leave the-
enough that we wouldn't limit it to 20 to 2,000. I think the motion should be that we consider increasing our budget for grants, and we can either do the 2,000 or a greater number if we decide to. But I think to follow the rules of the state, we have to put it on the calendar.
Oh, I want to put it on the calendar, but I don't think we have to set the number right now.
No, I'm not suggesting that, but we do
Okay,
have,
good.
we do have to put it on the calendar that we have to increase the budget. And the question is how much, if we want to, A, and B, if the answer is yes, how much? Is it 2 or is it 10 more? That's up to discussion next meeting.
Perfect.
Hunt,
Very
I want to thank you for being with us, and I know you have to run off.
Do we
And-
need, if I leave, do we lose a quorum? And I ask that only so that we can approve minutes from last meeting?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you leave, we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we still have quorum if you leave, Hunt.
Well,
So
why don't we
we
just
can-
do the minutes now just to protect?
let's do it now. Yeah, good idea.
I'd like somebody to make a motion. Thank you for Hunt for bringing it to our attention to approve the minutes of the September 22nd meeting. Can I have such a motion? By
Yes,
Chris, is there a second?
Motion.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? Or comments? There being none, I'll call for the questions. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed, it's unanimous. I don't think, Dante, thank you for bringing it to our attention. I think we appreciate you staying for the vote, and we'll continue on with the meeting for agenda items that do not require a vote.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful day.
And you too, and
Thanks, Tom.
thank you for accepting the leadership of the meeting on November. And the city council presentation on Wednesday. Thank
Can't wait
you.
to see what we vote for when you
We
leave.
all appreciate your effort.
Give them more work.
Dan, why don't you start with the financial statement or condition?
Currently, we have our catastrophe reserve account at $201,000. we don't expect to put any more in that. But I think we all agree that that's enough to cover what we need to do if there is a problem. Our checking account balance as of the end of last month was $194,000. And the check that we should be receiving any day for last month's city collections is $99,000. So it's a total of $293,000. We still have obligations, but we have monthly checks coming in that represent some of the biggest months. I should mention that the amount coming in last month was about 10% less than it was the prior couple months. I think all of us noticed that August was a funny month, and it looks like it's about 10% off. And sometimes that means that somebody didn't pay one month and did pay the next. We don't see the details on who pays, but again, I think I would get agreement that August was a funny month and September and October look strong. Any questions?
Do you think,
I did.
do you think
So-
in December, the December meeting, we should have a review of the budget based on the increased TOT revenue we've been collecting due to the good year we've been having?
I don't see any reason to do that. I think if we can sort of look forward to years similar to this one in the future, we will have a very different budget next year. But I don't see any reason to try and redo our budget now. I think the
You don't
little
think we need
changes
to
like
make
the one, the little changes like the one we're making for grants should be no problem, but that's my thought.
Okay.
Looks like Sue's
Our
raising her
current
hand.
budget goes through June?
Yes,
Okay.
That was my question, if you were on a fiscal year or on a calendar, on a fiscal year, yes?
July to
yeah,
June.
fiscal year.
Okay, thanks.
We're
And
following
Norm,
your
I
leadership.
Dan, I just want to point out as a side note, I believe that July had 5 weekends in it, and August had 4. So sometimes we'll see those weird variances depending on where the weekends land on that month. So
Yeah, and I just want to point out, we compare to the previous year too. So on average for July and August, we're running the same. So again, you could have some of those fluctuations and fluctuations in when people pay, but for right now, we're still consistent with last year, so.
Thank you, Sue. Are there any other comments or questions on the financial report by Dan? If not, Tim, I'm going to turn the meeting over to you for your marketing update.
great. All right. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Good to see you. Okay. I always feel like I should have walk-on music. Holidays are happening. So before I say anything, and dare thank you, I have been asking everybody for their off-season and holiday deals and special offers. If you are able to submit or have your management submit, or if you're a one-person shop, email me. We really need to know what's going on for the off-season, because now is when we start actually throwing dollars against it and telling people start coming to Sonoma Valley. And we really want to be able to talk about what's happening. So please, top line, please start telling us what's happening, or start thinking about what you're going to do.
Maybe, Tim, if you could tell us what to expect. Should we expect a boom winter like last winter or something else?
Oh, boy, Dan. Let me pour my tea out and see if I can read the tea leaves, Dan. I don't know. It's funny. When we have a dry winter, which is not good for agriculture or us, but it is actually good for hotels because people don't go to Tahoe. So if we have a dry winter, we typically have a better year. If we have a wet winter, we typically have a less than better year. But then Norman, you can go skiing, I guess, and that's great. And then if we have an average year with no excitement, I'm happy with that as well. So I don't know, Dan. That's a good question. We are rolling out the new website, so that'll be happening in January, and I'm really liking the progress it's coming along. Most of the work is happening behind the scenes, but it's going to be a really neat, refreshed look. Our website's looking a little dated, and I think it'll really inspire people to come visit Sonoma. We're starting our advertising planning. So I met with David yesterday, and we're going to firm things up, but we're actually going to be buying most of our media, again, will be digital, so we can be very flexible and move things around. We'll also do some things with local Bay Area group, Berkeley side there. I think you've worked with them before, which have yielded us a lot of email addresses that we can turn to very quickly if we have to. So that is our goal. The lighting of the plaza is Saturday, November 19th. Saturday, November 19th, Transcendence is coming in to perform. We're also getting other local performers. So put that on your calendar. Jack and Susan, please remember to be there because I got to point at you and say how great you are. So please show up. The lights, so on that, the lights will start going up in 2 weeks.
You said Saturday, November 18th?
19th, Saturday,
19th.
November 19th.
Okay. And what
Chris
time?
is already on the hook. It starts at nightfall, so it's around 5 o'clock.
Okay, excuse me for interrupting.
No problem. And usually we light the big tree at 6 o'clock. But don't tell anybody. That's a secret. We got to get them there at 5 o'clock. So there's excitement. The lights are starting to go up around the plaza. And please look for that. We'll have slightly different lights this year. Every year we do something a little bit different. So this year we're shifting some of the lights to the other quadrants. And we're going to have a neat, it's almost like, it looks like a spider web, but it'll be like a fan array of lights going over the stinky tree in the north east corner. And it'll be like almost like a picnic area where people can kind of hang out there at night. And so that would be a place when, if we do have this music in place, music performances, they could be singing there in that quadrant. So across from the Mission and BMV in that area. So we always try to do something a little bit different to keep it fresh. And we're also participating, so switching gears to the visitor center, we're participating in a countywide research initiative to both intercept visitors to see what their motivations are and if the visitor centers, how they're working and how we can better improve them. Then we'll also be researching and seeing how we do our own operations and to make sure that we're doing the best that we can across the county and kind of benchmark with other visitor centers around the state. So that was just kicked off last week. I'll fill you in more, and that will probably start in November. And that's an initiative with the Sonoma County Economic Development Board, Sonoma County Tourism, and then all the visitor centers groups that we have. And that's my quick report. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Tim, I have a question. Is there any follow-up on our meeting with the folks from Hillsburg on the TID joint marketing?
Believe it or not, there is. Thank you, Norm. Sorry about that. They're going to invite us up there in November. And let me find that date. She said possibly November 9th. Can you confirm? And I was going to send an email out to anybody who's interested. So November 9th, which I believe is a Wednesday. Let me double check.
I'll be in South Africa, so I cannot be there.
Or we travel a lot. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I'd like to be there.
Okay, so once that date's confirmed, then I'll follow up today with that and find out and send out the invites.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions on the report? Chris, anything?
No questions.
Okay, anybody else? Dan?
No questions.
Thank you for your report. We really appreciate your efforts, and I think we're all benefiting from your good work, Tim. I'm going to start with Sue because ladies first, Jack, if you don't mind. And I'll let Sue, you bring us up as city manager as to what's going on in the city of Sonoma.
So, as you said, we're anticipating a wonderful presentation from the Sonoma Valley Visitors Bureau and also from the TID. So that'll be on Wednesday night, and that'll be early in the meeting so that you don't have to wait.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're also still, we're working with the candidates. We did a council candidate orientation on Tuesday. All the candidates, all of them were there except for one, but it was a great presentation. All the department heads give over their departments, and I think it was well received. Then the forum was on Monday, and it was kind of a round table where they answered questions, and that is actually on the Sonoma TV website there, and then it is on YouTube as well. And then on the meeting on Monday, we have a lot of stuff on there, but nothing really exciting. A lot of planning stuff, building stuff. So other than that, pretty much right now we're just anticipating the election and working with the candidates. They have a lot of questions, so we filled a lot of questions from them. So
Okay. Thank you so much, and we appreciate the wonderful job you're doing as interim city manager. I hope you decide to stay. Would be wonderful. Jack, what's going on from the council's point of view?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's wonderful. We work together and move forward a lot of the things. The last city council meeting and the vice mayor and the council Barnett present Sonoma Plaza master plan, just to kick it off, and then let them out in the community participate with the long-term plan. And the visitor coming on the Wednesday is a big day for everyone, for the visitor bureau, for TID, for the each and the business owners here. So I encourage everyone when they join this on the event, the visit city council meeting, and showcase the best part on you on the doing, and tell the people how great you are, how wonderful you are. So and also at the same time, and the city council members are listening, and maybe we can gather more support. And then education always is more important. Information, let them really appreciate your great work. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you and Sue and the cooperation we get from both the council and the city, and we're glad to be partners with you. With that being said, are there any other comments or items that should be brought before the board this morning? Then I would call for a motion to adjourn the meeting. The next meeting would be on the second Tuesday of November at 9 o'clock by Zoom. And as we discussed earlier, will be chaired by our Vice President Hunt. And I wish you all a great week and lots of financial and good health. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?